the Guide to Live. This is your hangout to talk about live streaming with people who really know what it's like.
Because let's face it, no one really knows what you're talking about if you say you work in live stream.
But we do. So I'm Tara, and across from me is my co-host Ben. And together we make up your Guide to Live.
In today's episode, we're hopping in our time machine and traveling all the way back to the very beginnings of human interaction and entertainment to unearth the hidden forces driving the massive surge in live streaming popularity today. From early campfire entertainment to Rotten Tomatoes being thrown on stage during Shakespeare's day to today's global live streaming phenomenon. It isn't just a technological advance, it's tapping into the core of how humans are built to communicate.
All right, let's get into it. Spring, it's like springy vibes going on. I think people are active in the world, in all aspects of the world. They're going outside more. I see more social media stuff going on.
People are a bit friskier.
Yes.
I mean, it's literal. If the human spirit gets a little frisky in spring, we observe that in other animals, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably true. It's funny on live streaming because that means half of the audience is all going outside. Everyone's out in the parks and particularly in the UK as well. Like people outside having the nice bit of weather that exists in the UK.
Yeah,
US people don't understand that.
The people in the UK are like, I'm taking advantage of this time.
2 weeks of summer.
Yeah, it's our outside. 2 weeks of summer right now. And it's like, like 5 degrees Celsius? No, 8 degrees.
I keep getting asked the same question over and over.
Oh, yeah.
This week. It feels like people are starting to catch on that live streaming is catching on. I've been talked to industry people. I've been in meetings. Creators of us. It's like, why is it starting to catch on in a big way? There seems to be a lot of people who don't see what's causing the rush to live streaming.
Well, the shift of eyes from like where they were before to now going to live streaming. There's more people watching live streaming now than there was before. Yeah. I hear people talking about it now more.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
We were at a bar the other day and the bartender asked us something about live streaming and then said, it's kind of everywhere, isn't it, right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a little surprising to me.
We were like, what? Really?
Yeah,
we were like kind of excited. Like, tell me more. What else do you know about it? So what are the questions that you're getting asked? Like, what is what is it?
Why is live streaming starting to catch on in a big way? That's the question.
Yeah.
Like why? And I think there's two answers. There's the obvious technical one in that there are more places to live stream. TikTok Live particularly, which is by far the dominant force in this space, is providing incredible tools and access to audience and all of those things, right? Like you can physically go live stream on your phone, but that doesn't necessarily answer the question why still. Why are people picking up this tool that's been made and are doing it either as the streamer or the viewer?
Right. It's funny just thinking about when you said picking up this tool. So I'm like, yeah, this is a tool that we used to use to communicate with. Mm-hmm. Like that's the only purpose it had as a phone. Was
your live stream device.
Yeah, no, but it was like, phone. It was a communication device. And now it is in a way, it's like on a different level if you're live streaming, because that's a form of communication and community. Because like a lot of it is based around that. So it's cool.
Sidebar, when does it stop getting called a phone?
I don't know. I'm wondering when, because I don't even ever really use it anymore as a phone.
Yeah.
So what
like,
could we call it?
It's like a new generation of people who are coming up now that have never used it as a phone. Like it's a communication device, but one of the options is to press a button and it rings someone else's communication device, but mainly you're using it for media and live streaming.
Exactly. Well, or like
shopping. I
mean, for the last 10 to 15 years, I've bought a phone based on how many pixels it has for like megapixels it has for like image capture. Yeah. And it's like for the camera that it has, like what kind of lenses does it have? And it's because I like to take photographs. I don't want to carry a phone and a camera. I want it all in one, right? And now everything's in one. Maybe it's an all-in-one device. Mm-hmm. What are we going to call it? Let us know. Like, I'd love to hear from our audience. Like, what do you think the phone will be called in the next 10 years? It is starting to be called device, though. People on like, they generalize. Like I hear on TV and on
device.
Commercials, they're like available on your device, Because it's like, what is it? A tablet? Is it a phone? Is it a laptop? Is it a PC?
I had a picture of you walking around the house having lost your device, shouting, "Where's my device?
Where's my device?
Where is my device?"
Ah.
So if one of the reasons why it's catching on is this technological reason,
the device,
and that's kind of like the easy answer to it. The other part is like, why are people being drawn to it in such a natural way?
Why are they not watching like TV? And why are they watching this? Because I know a lot of people have stopped. Like one of the people that we work with very closely, a lot of the people in his community have said, I don't pay my subscriptions anymore to my like Netflix or Hulu accounts, those streaming accounts. I'm paying a subscription to this live streaming show now.
Right.
And it's like, I feel like that's the eye shift I was talking about a little bit ago. It's like, why the eye shifting? Why are we as humans and people, and why are we doing this?
Yeah. I think to answer the question, we have to go back.
Gotta go back in time.
Like I think we need to zoom out, right? We think about how to answer the question of why live streaming is becoming so ingrained in culture, and like we know in other territories as well, it's coming particularly to the US and UK in a big way.
Yes, it is coming. So we need to go back to.
Let's go back
to the olden days. Okay.
First of all, I think it's pretty easy to understand that we as a species of people, of humans, like entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we do. We've been doing it
forever.
Since the dawn of man.
Yeah.
Like since the beginning of man.
Then, and like, obviously we can't go back in history and be like, oh, look, they like dancing here. But there's lots of artifacts and historical evidence that suggests that people really early on, like 40,000 years ago, they are entertaining each other with wooden bone flutes.
Yeah, they were like playing instruments and yeah. And then what about like the cave art, like telling stories and drawing pictures on the walls and like telling the story? It's like a real life comic strip. It's an ancient comic strip.
But if we all accept like the premise, like, and obviously now people like entertainment, even if you're not actively seeking entertainment, there's music here, there's visuals, there's color, people like absorbing entertainment, and then you go home and watch your show or whatever it is. Like that is baked into what people do. We've like going out to stuff.
Since, like we said, but and it's like, why did we do it though? Like, why did we even start doing it? I do know one thing. It's nice. It makes me feel good. I'm thinking about being one of those people around the fire when they're playing the bone flute, right? And I'm looking around at all the faces that are lit up from the fire and they're smiling.
I'll do a bit of backing music for you.
Yeah, play the flute for me. So I'm looking at every of the little cavemen's faces, and the light of the fire is flickering, and it's showing me their little smiles. They're looking up. They're imagining themselves as the character. I see joy.
That's hard to do.
Okay, so that's my point, right? That was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it's really cool because it's like you feel like you're part of something when you do that, right? Isn't that? I think that's why we did it.
But
why we did it. Right?
It seems like that is the only way we could have done it.
I would have done it
because you could only play your bone flute or tell your story or do your theater or pass on your knowledge of your craft to the people who were literally in earshot.
Right.
Like there was a mechanical barrier in that if you were too far away, you couldn't see.
Yeah.
If you were too far away, you couldn't hear.
Right. And it was usually smaller communities, and it was like a close knit group of people. And it was the person that would, it was like, oh, I'm the historian, or I'm the doctor. I'm going to tell you some cool things I've discovered, and I'm going to give you some warnings about the snake that I discovered. If it bites you, you die. Service announcements.
Also, come see Cassandra, who is doing a dance later to remind us that it's springtime.
Yes. We've just turned into, I don't know what we've turned into, but it's fun.
So it's like baked into how people, but there is this limitation, right? And that carries on through, like you go from that fire scene to like records of, it's like Greek drama. Roman amphitheaters, things like that. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on the gladiators. But it was interactive still.
Yes.
So
very interactive.
I think that this is the key point in that if you're as close as you can shout as the performer, also the audience can shout back. And that in these examples, like ancient Greece, medieval, like Renaissance stuff, the plays that people would do, interactivity was built into it.
It was expected by the players on the stage.
All right,
like,
player.
Yes, they knew that at some point during their line, the audience they knew they were evoking it. They were going to get a reaction. And they didn't know, because one night it would be this, and the next time that they would go on, it would be a different reaction depending on the audience.
I'm tapping the.
Oh, you should see Ben right now. His index finger is going back and forth. He's tapping the screen.
Yeah,
he's yelling. He's cheering. That's the engagement. That's like it. But like, if you notice, I said one night it would be boos, the next night it would be cheers.
Yeah,
and it all depended on the audience. Like they would change like the way the vibe of the show was depending on who was watching it because of their influence on it.
So just to bring it back to live streaming, if you're in the village and people are shouting out, or you're a Shakespeare play and people are throwing tomatoes, what's the relationship to live streaming?
Oh, it is taps, shares, comments, putting a digital gift onto the screen that changes. Yeah, that's engaging.
Yeah. All of those things are the digital equivalent of engaging in RIL.
Real life. Yes, in real life.
Yeah.
We said that at the same time. So you said the abbreviation and I said the real word. Yeah. That's so fun.
So that's like humans are used to communicating in this way, and the digital interface gets you this wider audience all over the world, but you interact through the screen in the same way.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Interacting back and forth it was an exchange of engagement.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And if you you go back and look at how ancient like folk cultures, like Native Americans, their entertainment was storytelling, and it was shared, but it was interactive as well.
Yes.
That would include audience participation and like call and response.
And can I get a hell yes?
Communal singing, dancing, right? And it all reinforced social bonds and collective memory.
Yes.
So that's all cool. But like, how does that even relate to live streaming, other than you can draw these parallels to
I can see
the engagement going on? But something changed then, because
something
we're not
changed.
Currently in an economy where somebody local is well known to us. Something changed in that village setup to technology distributing entertainment far and wide. It was like a solution.
Right. There became national icons instead of local people who were like, I mean, you still have your local like celebrities, like so-and-so on the local news, like they come into the bar, they come into the restaurant. You're like, oh my God, look who it is. You know, you're like, oh, but it's like, they're known to a smaller group of people, whereas like the national or the international celebrities are well known, like they're known to multiple people. It's mainstream.
Yeah, but it's because of recording technologies, right? So that was a pivotal change when entertainment first began to be captured, like on records,
recorded,
or on film. The immediacy of mutual engagement and live performance ended up altered.
It was altered because this is when I can see this happening. Like I'm thinking of the Victorian era with the little like the Victrola like round cylinder record player, right? It's like, oh, I've just got the latest thing, and like they have a party and they invite their friends. They invite their friends over, and they're like, come listen to our record together with us. And so it's like you're still bringing friends over and you're still exchanging and there's engagement, but it's one-sided. It's not back and forth anymore.
Right.
And the same with films. People would go to the films back then. They were silent, of course, but they would all go together to one particular shared space, the cinema. They would play the silent film, and then there was an orchestra that would play. Like the orchestra would interact with the audience, but the actors did not. It was so that it was like this was the beginning of
the gap
the
between,
separation.
The gap between the interaction and the person that's hosting the performance, whatever it is.
And you're losing something in that. You're losing that influence that you had on the show. So it doesn't change anymore. It's like, it's set in stone now, that show.
And then
and you can't alter it.
And then it like moves into television, which is, so like you said, when people first got radios, like there was an interactive element, and TVs, people would crowd around a TV, right? Very early on.
Yeah.
Then suddenly everybody has one. So you're watching the thing in your own space on your own. And it became like this mass one-way broadcast.
Right.
Viewers became a passive, and they received content without the possibility of any real-time interaction.
Yeah. And you mentioned the radio. The one thing that the radio still held on to that two-way interaction.
Call-ins.
Yeah. Call-ins, giveaways, radio stations go to local events and they're there live and they're like interviewing people who come up to the booths and stuff. So it's like they're very community driven still. And they have been, I think, throughout the...
Yeah, there's a lot...
There's a constant going on there.
There's a lot that live streamers could learn from the way that radio works. It's not an exact parallel, but they have maintained
very similar, though.
This ongoing interaction more so than television and other things.
And this other form of media that we're talking about, because this is the changes that we're talking about over the course of time. And now we're at a point where it's being recorded and mass distributed, because now there's cable TV, there's satellite TV, but no one's interacting. It's passive. And you're sitting on your couch and you're not hanging out talking about it with someone next to you. Mm-hmm. Like, when was the last time you watched a television show or something with a group of friends? It's been a minute for me. I think Game of Thrones was the last time that I did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the same time, so you have this withdrawal of interaction with the thing that you're talking about, but also star culture emerges because celebrities then become household names, but their interaction with the fans are largely like scripted appearances, or their interviews, or they're carefully managed. And the local people who were providing the entertainment originally can't compete with this national or international star. And it's just, it's not because they're better.
They're just
they have access to the audience's eyes through these very, very few and curated pipes that are going out. The
stars are like casting a shadow that's just too big for them to be seen through.
Right. Yeah. What do you think the peak of non-interactive mass fame was?
Well, it would have to have been the golden age of television, I think, because that's when it was like people were sitting down like at home watching TV. There was lots of shows, lots of shows being consumed, advertisements being consumed. It was like, this was the time when
But when was that though?
The 50s, 60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like when women were still staying at home. They weren't really working yet. They were staying at home and they were being told by the television, shows would come on that they liked, but then they were being told like, hey, if you buy this, it's going to make your job as a housewife easier. If you buy this blender, or you buy this oven. So it's like, and so there was mass production of television shows. So I think that's when it was.
Yeah, 50s and 60s, right? That's the golden age of Hollywood, dominance of television. So it like epitomizes the peak non-interactive entertainment. Right. And that's also when mass celebrity was. It's like film stars, TV personalities, but it was inherently one directional.
Right. Like you said, I think you've said this in another podcast about the tubes of how like the information's being delivered through the different tubes. Now there's like tubes in everyone's house, like the television.
Yeah. And then so if that's the peak, right? And the reason why we're even talking about this is to answer the question, why is live streaming growing so rapidly, and like why is it so appealing to people? Because everything that we talked about before this technological advance was tens of thousands of years of human history. This is 100 years ago.
Less
not
than.
Even 70 years ago, right? So it all changed, and we totally changed how we interacted with each other in terms of receiving information, stories, entertainment into this fandom, which had never existed before. It feels like that is just like built into human culture, but it's really recent, the idea that a single person would be known by everyone.
Right.
And also, conversely, the idea that a local person who had a talent isn't known by anybody in that.
Yeah.
Right? That's suddenly become normal, but it actually is a flip of how it's been forever.
I know.
And then
strange,
live streaming is tracking us back to that.
It's pulling us back to our roots and why is that?
Because we've got a phone that connects us directly to a group of people through an algorithm. Instead of them being our village that is sitting around because we're geographically linked, is now a village of people that are spread out around the world.
Yeah. And because of the algorithm, it finds people who have shared common interests and of things that you're talking about and that you're doing.
Right.
And you have your little campfire and you're playing your bone flute and you have your little, you have your community of people sitting around watching each other's faces glow with the campfire. But now it's mass distributed through technology. So it's even better than it was before because you're bringing back the elements of what it started out with, like the roots of it, like community, right? Is what I think. So now we're creating these small little communities, millions of them all over the world.
Yeah.
We're all tied together through our phones. Like, so it's accessible, you know?
And the idea that a single person is going to host a community of 10 million people may seem absurd in the very near future.
It might, yes.
And when you can make a healthy living from a community of people, maybe 1,000 people or 2,000 people, there's the 1,000 true fans theory that we talk about. But like, it doesn't have to be 1,000. But
it could be 500.
The old economy had to reach loads of people to have enough people to buy the product to pay for this whole thing.
Exactly.
Whereas this, you don't have to reach loads of people. You just got to reach literally the ones who are going to pay you.
Yeah, this is why brands are having a hard time figuring out how to handle this and how to use it for marketing and to reaching audiences. Because now, instead of, you know, paying one big celebrity to reach thousands and millions of people with one ad, they're having to pay thousands of creators to hit thousands of people within there. It's like a spiderweb effect.
Right. But that has been the move, like UGC content creation. Like, everyone understands that a brand will pay a micro influencer in inverted commas some small amount of money to reach their community.
Right.
That isn't necessarily massive, but they're doing that with thousands of them, right? So the change here is that the live streaming creator here is earning money already from the audience. So they're not entirely dependent on the revenue from the brand. So how you interface and how you get your message out as a brand becomes a really, really complicated dynamic experience, which isn't as simple as simply paying people to pass on your message. You have to embed yourself in all of these streams. You have to reach the mass audience through the hundreds of thousands of streamers. But it's not necessarily the paid experience that happened before.
Right.
It might be in some cases, but the economy is different.
Yeah. Like you said, the host or the entertainer is getting paid directly by the audience. Whereas, like, that's very similar to the way entertainment was a long time ago before, even because they would get paid with tips. Like, think about people who do busking. Like, it's that same thing. And so that's another parallel, I think, with like live streaming and like why it is working now, especially for people. A lot of people today, if they see a way to do their art and get out to and create a community, which is what they try to do anyway, without live streaming, which takes longer and is harder to do. And you have to hire people to help you do it and pay lots of money up front. You just have a phone. And you can live stream now, and you can build this community, and you can put on shows all the time and practice your craft, because it is you have a craft of the talent that you have, but then live streaming itself is a craft as well.
Right. Yeah, I think that's sometimes missed in the same way as making videos is a craft, but it's something. Videos is something that you can improve over time, because you can make a video, you post it, see how well it does, review, improve your editing, improve your performance, improve this, improve that, by reviewing it yourself. Whereas live is something entirely different, in that when you're live, and this sounds so stupid, you're live and you can't do anything else.
Nope.
It's also almost impossible to review your own experience because you were in it.
Yes. And it's not repeatable, because every time you go live, it's a different audience watching, and it changes based on what they're doing and how they're engaging.
Right. You need to engage people in both the short term and the long term. The support that's needed in that is different than has existed before. It's a mixture of the support that a live television broadcaster needs, but obviously no way near as much as that.
You need a smidge of it.
You need a smidge of it. You need to rely on it, and you need to build a narrative together with the person.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. If we could take anything from, like, the cousin of what we're doing, this industry is like Hollywood, like the entertainment world of, you know, television shows, radio, whatever, entertainment. It's like celebrities were promoted before the event, before the show. And how are they promoted? They were telling a story about that person, to put them up here and say, this person did this. And guess what? They met this person over here. And then the two of them ran off and they went and had a snog behind the
Canoodled.
Yeah, they canoodled, whatever.
You talking about scandal?
No, I'm talking about a narrative. They created a story, and it usually is dramatic or controversial because that gets people hooked in. They want to know what's going on. People love drama.
Yeah. Think about like Severance right now.
Yeah.
Huge hit TV show right now.
Yeah.
The story, if you see it appearing on social media, and we watch it as well, great show. The story isn't really about what's happening in the show so much. It's much more about, where is Lumen? Here's a piano player playing the Lumen theme song in the office because it's a real office. Aren't the corridors weird? And talking to the director and the producer about how they did the running scenes.
Right.
Those are the stories.
It's the stories about the show. And that's what people talk about when we say, are you watching that show? And they're like, oh my God, yes. And they say, oh, this storyline's great. But then did you know, like when they shot that, how they made their face look like that when they go from the elevator scene?
Yeah.
It was like a long shot, zoomed in, panned in really quickly. Like, it's like those are the stories. It makes it interesting you tell those
caught in the idea that it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like in this instance, it is the behind the scenes. Whereas on live streaming, exactly the same thing has to be happening, but it's not behind the scenes. It is the scenes.
It's in the scenes and it's real time. It's happening. So that's what this is. This is real time entertainment.
Yeah. And Severance has Friday night release of the main show, right? It has the event that everyone shows up to.
Yeah, everyone waits for Friday.
And then everyone talks about it afterwards.
Yes.
And the talk is driven around the narrative. So you flip that on its head as a live streamer. Yeah, you have a Friday night show. If you're like a dad streamer or a mum streamer, your Friday night show might be just kicking back and chatting and turning the music up and hanging out with your community. Yeah. If you're a musician streamer, it might be that you're doing an 80s themed disco night, party night.
Party night. Oh, I don't want to go to that. I don't know. Some people are into it.
Smell-o-vision. You wait.
Smell-o-vision.
Maybe we should bring back smelly live streaming. Send out on the scratch and sniffs.
Oh, yes. That's great.
Yeah. So all of those things are still happening. It's just flipped around. And an effective live streamer does all of those things, the behind the scenes, but that is the show. And then you build to some event that happens each week. And that's your narrative.
Yes.
And holding all of those things together is hard, but not impossible.
Right. You just need a little extra support.
Yeah.
Like a nice little bra that lifts and separates.
Right.
You just need that support.
Or a nice, comfortable sports
jockstrap. Yeah. Undergarment.
Yeah. Never really gone down the
You know what? That's really nice though. Is like, I like support wear now. Like it just keeps you snatched a little bit. Like it makes you feel like you're nice and tight in the midsection, you know? So yeah, like kind of like that.
Right. You're saying the support of a live streaming company should be like the comfort of a well-fitting brassiere or jockstrap. Yes. Is that your pitch?
Yes.
Let's go straight to the investors now.
Let's do it.
If there are any investors listening right now that's invested in a live streaming company that provides that kind of support
for live streamers,
literally, you just drop us a line.
Yeah.
That said, if you do like this podcast, and we do get notes of people saying that they listen to it, it does help us if you like and subscribe. It's engagement as well. It's just slower. It's a slower cycle.
And it's even better if you give us a review.
Yeah, if you could go into Apple or Spotify, whatever, and give a review. And if you could click the 5-star button, that would be best.
I might even say your username next time. I'll be like, so-and-so said this about us. Yeah. Can you believe that? I can't believe it. It's amazing.
So we're in this phase, right, where every interactivity is coming back. So it's like early human history, entertainment was
coming back full
interactive,
circle, but bigger.
Community storytelling, live performances, ritualistic dance. Then recorded stuff got in the way.
It did.
Got in the way.
It cut us off,
but it
from each other.
Showed everyone what entertainment could be as well. It's like
this
amazing high quality.
Yes.
And now we're in this digital revival in the last 10 years that I think the shift has been coming. And in the last 5, when this form of live stream is coming out.
Like when we say this form, we mean the vertical
algorithmic
mobile
live
device, algorithmic live streaming.
So this is the answer to the question. Why is live streaming surging and coming into popular culture so strongly right now? Is because it's baked into what we do as humans.
Yes.
It's designed in a way
out.
that reflects how we interact in the first place.
Yeah. We want to be entertained and we want to be with our buddies when we do it. And we want to talk to the person who's entertaining us and interact back and forth with them. That's what we want.
Yeah.
We are social creatures. We crave it. We've been cut off from it for so many decades that now we're taking it back. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
The power isn't in your hand.
And
literally.
I think the big question is that once you know that, how do you capitalize on that as a live streamer or a live streaming business? How do you capitalize on it in terms of making sure that you reach the audience that you could and should reach?
Yes.
And maybe that's the one for a follow-up podcast. What are the things you do as a live streamer to ride this wave and be at the front of the surge the whole
sustain
way?
it? Be able to sustain it so you don't wipe out too early.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's meet back here and talk about it.
All right. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.